Hello, fellow gamers, and welcome to the Video Gamers Podcast. You know, gamers may be an opinionated bunch, but nothing gets us talking and arguing like discussing the Game of the Year nominees or winners. Sometimes the Game of the Year nails it, and other times it's a massive whiff. On this episode, we're going to discuss the games we think should have won Game of the Year over the last 6 or 7 years. Talk about the games we think should have been nominated and probably argue over some of these games. It's going to be a fantastic episode, but first, some introductions are in order. I am your host, Josh, and joining me, he was nominated for Host of the Year in 2024, but lost in spectacular fashion to me. It's Ryan.
You know, that just is always my lot in life. You know, it's not a lot, but it's a life.
Second place?
Second place.
Run it up, man. That's
you ain't
good.
last.
Yeah.
You ain't last.
Yeah. And joining us, he's been nominated to be the first ever quadruple A host, but we all know how that turned out. It's John. That was a Skull and Bones reference there, John.
I know.
He's like, oh, man.
That hurts extra bad, man.
Oh, man.
That's okay.
Hey, you might be the first quadruple A host, John.
What the heck does that even mean?
I don't know. Listen, apparently, I was going to say ask Ubisoft, but I've been catching some flack for the way I say Ubi.
Yeah,
and I guess it's
Ubi.
Ubisoft, but that just really doesn't jive with my brain.
It's Ubisoft?
It's apparently.
Oh, interesting.
That's what some listeners said, and you know the listeners are always right,
This
John.
is true.
Do you say Studio Ghibli or Studio Ghibli?
I say Ghibli.
It is Ghibli.
I know
Yeah.
it is, and you know what? I don't like jibs because the jib is like a piece of like meat that you throw to a shark or something, and I don't.
I
Giblets?
prefer
Oh, I like it more
Ghibli.
now. Ghibli.
Like giblet gravy.
Giblet.
That's like the gross parts of like the turkey or the chicken that people make gravy out of.
That's
I
a
don't know, man.
giblet,
So-
yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
giblet.
giblet. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to say Studio Ghibli because it's like,
That's a
gross
snack for
sounding.
while you're cooking.
A giblet?
Yeah, just pop them in
Yeah,
like candy. No.
So for me, it's Ubisoft and Studio Ghibli because it just sounds nicer, man. It's a more appealing word.
My mother-in-law says Chipotle instead of Chipotle.
Oh,
it drives me
no.
nuts.
No.
I love you, Barb, but that drives me nuts.
Oh man. So guys, this is gonna be a fun episode, man. I love this idea because it is, you know, we kind of talked about it, right? Everybody has their opinion on this game should be nominated for Game of the Year. This game won Game of the Year. This game got snubbed. How did they not even put Helldivers 2 in the mention for Game of the Year? Like, what the heck, people?
Yep.
So this is the topic for this episode is we are going to go year by year. We're going to talk about which games got nominated. We're going to talk about the game that won. And then we're going to kind of go like, yeah, but this game should have won. Or we're going to talk about a few of the games that got snubbed and didn't even get nominated for Game of the Year. Now, before our very avid research heavy listeners start digging into this year by year, we're only talking about Game of the Year. So yes, I get that some of these games might have been nominated for Best Action Game or Best Role-Playing Game. And they're like, guys, that did win an award. That's not the point of this. The point is Game of the Year.
You
okay?
act like they'd be that nice when they're telling us.
They always, dude, people are always nice on social media, Ryan. They're going to be like,
Absolutely.
hey guys, I love everything you say, but I would like to point out this one thing. And no. Instead, they're just like, you guys are losers, man. I can't believe you said that. And then we just laugh.
They just need to raise the price of podcast equipment so people like us can't get it. you know?
Oh,
That
snap.
was the best comment. And then I'm like, I don't think you guys know how expensive these microphones are, man. Gotta try everything we can to sound good, boys.
Yeah,
So
I'm getting there.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's do this, guys. Let's go all the way back in time on this one. All right. So let's go all the way back to the year 2017. I think this is the year. I can't remember when Game of the Year started. I want to say it's like 2016, 2017, somewhere right around there.
Somewhere.
Because 2017 has the least amount of nominees out of any of those. So let's jump back to the year 2017, guys. A little game by Nintendo, the first sequel for a Zelda game that we got in a really long time that looked like it was just the greatest thing that gaming has ever seen. A little game called Breath of the Wild takes it home as the winner of Game of the Year. It went up against Horizon Zero Dawn, great game. Persona 5, great game. PUBG. Now, say what you want about PUBG, whether it was a great game or not, but PUBG took over the world, dude. I think PUBG might still be one of the highest concurrent player counts in a video game ever. And then just some little unknown game called Super Mario Odyssey that was thrown
That's all.
in there as well. Did they get it right on this one? That's the question. Is Breath of the Wild up against Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5, PUBG, and Super Mario Odyssey the right game to win Game of the Year in 2017?
Dude, just speaking of PUBG, though, and its longevity, right now on SteamDB, 91,000 players in game. Right now. On a weekday afternoon.
John, did you ever play PUBG?
Nope, not my kind of game.
Oh, man. Okay. I can't tell you how many hundreds and hundreds of hours we spent playing PUBG, dude.
Freaking Paul still plays it. I'll see him pop
Paul
in all the
does still
time.
play it all the time, dude. PUBG is the game that you would race home from work for, text your buddies as you're leaving work and be like, I'll be on in 20 minutes, guys. I'm on my way home. And then everybody would hop on. You'd squat up and you would just play PUBG the rest of the night, dude, trying to get that winner chicken dinner. It was the jankiest game ever when it first released. Like, you couldn't even pick up things off the ground because if you hit the pickup button too fast, your character would like do the animation but then not actually pick up the item off the ground. Same thing with opening doors. Like, this game was janky, dude. But there was just something magical about it. It is some of the most fun and most memories that I have from a video game. But here's the challenge of Game of the Year, right? Like, it, you know,
did we answer your question, by the way? Because I think Breath of the Wild absolutely was the game of that year. That, like, Persona 5 would be a runner-up, and then I think
Persona 5 is a beloved game, dude.
Yeah, but I don't know that I would consider, because it's very niche. There's one game on here that I think came out in 2017 that isn't listed on any of these, but Nier Automata. If you haven't played that game, game still holds up. It is incredible. It gets dismissed because of character design, a lot of the time. But man, that is one of the most like dynamic games I've ever played. It's fantastic.
So that's okay, because this is a good question that we're going to bring up as we move forward. Are there any games that should have been nominated and in this list of nominees that absolutely deserves to be there? We covered Nier Automata. It is not normally my type of game, but I really enjoyed Nier Automata. I'll be honest with you, man. When we're talking about these games, like, I would bounce Horizon Zero Dawn for Nier Automata.
Same.
As much as I liked Super Mario Odyssey, I don't know. That one's tough, man. That was a pretty good game. I played Persona 5 Royale for like 15 hours. It's really good, but I would put Nier Automata above that as well, which I know is going to make a lot of people gasp. But I do think Nier Automata should absolutely have been in the running. Here's where it gets tricky for me. I do agree that Breath of the Wild is probably the logical winner for Game of the Year, but I've also always said that I think Breath of the Wild is pretty overrated. Like, it's a very good video game, like very good video game. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not slandering Breath of the Wild, but like PUBG was so much fun, dude. Everybody in the world was playing PUBG.
Yeah.
And I know that there's, all the Nintendo lovers are going to be like, but Breath of the Wild, man, that's like one of the, but like, compare the counts, man, of it. It's just like, for Nintendo and being an exclusive, Breath of the Wild, top notch. But when you put it up against PUBG and the world breaking records that PUBG was like doing in the gaming industry at the time,
dude,
it's bananas.
All-time peak for PUBG. There's no way you'll even guess this.
Isn't it like 4.3 million people?
It's roughly 3.3 million, 3.25 million.
Concurrent players, dude. Most games are happy if they've sold 3 million copies. This is 3.3 million people playing at the same time, dude.
Oh my gosh.
So this one's tough because it's like, I think I generally tend to go with fun over like the masterpieces.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's kind of the similar thing like with the Oscars, like in 2012, a movie called Argo won the Academy Award, but that was the same year that like the Avengers came out. And like I remember seeing the Avengers in the theater and like literally standing up in my seat at points. Like when Hulk punches that big monster thing, I was like, yeah. And I'm like, one movie might have been like a more dramatic movie or whatever, but like what movie did you have more fun watching?
Yeah. Which one do you remember more?
Exactly.
Like in hindsight, do you remember Argo or do you remember the freaking Avengers?
Nobody
man? It's
remembers
like, I remember
Argo.
the Avengers. And I remember PUBG. So I'm a contrarian sometimes. I'm gonna say I think PUBG should have won it.
Yeah,
like,
that's me
as
too.
Janky as it is, and I get that there's people who are like, PUBG was the jankiest mess ever, man. It was hackers and janky and all that, but it was just it was a planet breaking game, man. Yeah. Ryan, what about you? Do you agree or disagree?
I agree 100%. I'm so
one?
excited you're with me because I'm sure I'll get roasted on the internet, but I was. Tears of the Kingdom was an awesome game, and Breath of the Wild is just Tears of the Kingdom without like the super fun stuff. So yeah, for me,
okay. But see, I'm gonna be contrarian again. I prefer Breath of the Wild over Tears of the Kingdom.
You're crazy.
It was new. It was brand new, dude. It was something that people hadn't seen before. Tears of the Kingdom, I'm not saying didn't evolve the series. But a lot of that was it just felt like Breath of the Wild, like 1.5.
A cheeseburger is good, but a double cheeseburger with bacon is better. So
Okay,
it's just, they just made
fair.
it better.
That's fair. I mean, but then do you give credit to the original burger? Because without the original burger, you'd never have the bacon cheeseburger?
Is this the 2017 episode? Are we going to be here forever?
All right. John, you think that it was the right game out of that list?
Of the list, yes. I loved Persona 5, but niche game. Super Mario Odyssey, one of the greatest platformers ever, but more of a limited audience. Nier Automata would have been my choice, but it's not on the list. Of these, I would say Legend of Zelda, but I haven't played PUBG. So,
yeah.
All right, boys. This might be the greatest war of Game of the Year that we have ever seen in history. 2018. I'm gonna read the list of nominees. Okay, Red Dead Redemption 2, Celeste, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Monster Hunter World, Spider-Man, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and God of War 2018. Dude.
Yeah.
Dude. How do you decide? Okay, so it's fairly easy to say, okay, well, it's between God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2. Celeste is quite possibly the best platformer that has ever been made, dude. I played Celeste at Paul's. Paul made me do it, and it was absolutely fantastic, dude. I'm not a big Assassin's Creed guy. I get that Odyssey was like this big, huge game, but to me, that one's like whatever. But we had two of the greatest juggernauts in gaming in all of history going up against each other, man. God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2. And the right game won, boys. God of War 2018.
Whatever. I'm 1A and 1B. Like that's such a hard thing for me, but the setting in Red Dead is just better for my taste. But dude, and then not to mention, dude, Spider-Man, absolute banger. And the Tomb Raider game was awesome. I loved that trilogy that they made of the newer Tomb Raiders. They were absolutely fantastic. But dude, yeah, what a freaking year, man.
So Ryan, for you, and I know you've said this before, but you think Red Dead Redemption 2 should have won.
Yeah, it's the greatest game ever made for me.
Yeah, that one's tough, dude.
I see why God of War won. I've got no qualms about it.
John, what about you, man? What do you think on this one?
See, this is tough. That was my wife and I were kind of going through the peak of our business building at that time, and so I think 28. Like, I played through Spider-Man, great game. Excellent game, and I'm a huge Marvel fan, but I wouldn't say game of the year. God of War, man, I know you're going to flame me for this, but it's a bit overrated for me, man. I prefer the old beat 'em up, like PS2.
This show's over. This show's over.
I prefer the older God of Wars. God of War 2018. I was expecting this like knock my socks off sort of gaming experience, and it was good. I finished it, but it wasn't like awesome. Red Dead 2, I played the first 15 to 20 hours of it, and I really liked it. But then I got caught up with life, and wasn't able to finish. And I don't want to go back. I have to go back at some point and play this again, but like starting all over again and like refreshing my brain with the story and all that stuff was just kind of prohibitive. I don't know that I have if I had to pick my favorite of them, it would probably be Spider-Man, but I know it's not the best. Celeste, love-hate relationship, absolute wonderful platforming, pixel art, it makes it niche. And for me, it was punishingly hard, man.
Yeah, it's super hard, especially if you start getting into like the side B and side C's on the tapes that you can find and stuff crazy. Like that. Like, yeah, it's nuts. We could spend an hour debating God of War 2018 versus Red Dead Redemption 2. I do not fault Red Dead Redemption 2 for having the greatest world and realism in a game to where you feel like you're in the Old West. God of War, for me, was just the more fun, tightly designed package where I loved every aspect of that game. Red Dead Redemption 2, I think, had higher highs in it, but I've said many a time that I'm not a huge fan of the gameplay portion of it. The shooting always felt slightly janky to me. The movement always felt slightly janky to me. And God of War, for me, was just perfection. Again, that's not slandering Red Dead Redemption 2 by any means, because I can absolutely say I think it's one of the best games ever made. But God of War just clicks more with me in that regard. So
that's fair.
Seems like I took the wrong year off.
Yeah, you did, honestly. I was going to pull like other, honorable mentions for 2018, but let's be honest, nothing is unseating Red Dead 2 or God of War.
That was a two-man race,
so strong at the top there.
All right, well, here's where we start getting into a little bit more of the interesting kind of standoffs here. All right, so 2019. I'll list the games here. So we have Control, Death Stranding, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Sekiro, The Outer Worlds, and Resident Evil 2. The winner, which I absolutely agree with because it is a masterpiece of a game, is Sekiro. If you are a Souls-like fan, Sekiro absolutely is almost just perfection. It's really hard for somebody that's played a lot of Souls games to go from the dodge rolling to avoid damage to the parrying. You have to kind of, as Yoda would say, you have to unlearn what you've learned.
Yeah.
Because it just plays so differently. But man, that game, I've actually had the itch to kind of load that back up again and start playing that. What do you guys think? Have either of you, I don't think either one of you have played Sekiro.
I have not. No, I haven't played many games on this list this year. Maybe I was just stuck in my Destiny world.
It does make me wonder because I'll be honest, like I played Control a little bit. I have never played Death Stranding. The Outer Worlds doesn't interest me at all. Resident Evil 2, the Resident Evil franchise is great. And I've never been a fan of Super Smash Bros. So for me, this year is it's Sekiro by a mile. Control I get is a really neat game with an amazing atmosphere, but none of these other games even come close for me.
Yeah. Go ahead, John.
This is retrospective for me, but Slay the Spire came out that year. And as far as pure fun, I never would have heard about that game were it not for this podcast. It's one of the absolute my favorite things that I've harvested from this show, but I love that freaking game. So in retrospect, I would say that. Although there was another indie game called Gris. GRIS.
I've heard a lot of people talk about that game.
It's short. I don't know. Again, I don't know. Game of the year. It's gorgeous, man. I think that if you were running this through a Sundance Film Festival or something with that type of critics, Gris would have won. That's just a gorgeous, beautiful, unique game. Out of the contenders, I would have to say Sekiro.
Yeah. All right. Ryan, what about you?
I think I'm probably... I haven't played too many of these, honestly. Like I said, I was either probably still playing Red Dead or playing Destiny. So, Yeah, I think I have seen footage on a lot of this stuff, and then just the acclaim that it's received. Sekiro's like everyone always brings it up. It's one of those games that they always talk about.
All right, time to throw the curveball, boys, because here are some games that absolutely should have been in this list, if you ask me, that did not get nominated for Game of the Year. Okay,
Let's hear
Apex Legends.
Oh,
Apex Legends came out in 2019, shocked the world, shadow dropped game. They like, where the heck did this game come from? One of the most popular battle royales ever. You know, probably still, honestly, at this point, the most popular battle royale next to Fortnite.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like Apex Legends isn't in a Game of the Year contention. One of my all-time favorite games, Outer Wilds. I mean, you guys have heard me talk about this. This is one of those games you will absolutely never forget playing. It is unlike any other game in existence, in my opinion. It stands on its own. It is absolutely incredible. It is memorable. I mean, I don't know how Outer Wilds didn't get nominated for Game of the Year. Here's another one. Disco Elysium took the world by storm.
Right. Yeah.
One of the widely hailed as one of the greatest RPGs ever made. One of the most unique RPGs ever made.
That's when you had to read everything, though.
You did that. Now that is fair. And I think that might be what kept it out, is that when it released, it did not have the full voiceover, which I think really fixed the game for a lot of people.
For me.
And guys, quite possibly the most popular VR game ever made, Beat Saber, came out in 2019. Now I know VR is kind of a niche thing, right? Where it's like, okay, not everybody had a Quest at the time. You know, VR really hadn't, you know, it's 2019. It's kind of gaining some traction, but Beat Saber is one of the most iconic games in existence.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's not a person in the world that hasn't heard of Beat Saber at this point. So it's like, does that deserve to be in the Game of the Year nominees? So I am going to say, I think that they really messed up 2019.
Oh.
Like, I think this might be the year that had the most whiffs for nominees. You know?
Okay, yeah.
Like, Control, fine. It's a great game. I know a lot of people love it. I played it. I kind of lost interest in it. It's a little slow paced. It takes a lot of time to get moving. Death Stranding is very hit or miss for a lot of people. I can appreciate the production value on it. So it's like, does it deserve it? But there's a lot of people out there that just went, dude, this game's a walking simulator, man. It's boring. Super Smash Bros. Bleh. I mean, I've always said I'm not a fan.
Agreed.
Resident Evil 2 is whatever, dude. And Outer Worlds does not deserve to be on this list at all, not even close. So for me, I would legitimately replace... I mean, I would absolutely have Outer Wilds on there. I would have Disco Elysium on there, and I would have Apex Legends on there just because it took the world by storm. For me, I would boot Death Stranding, Smash Bros, and Outer Worlds. Actually, dang, that one's tough, man. I've not played Death Stranding, but I can understand why people would view it in like high regard.
Yeah.
So actually, I'd probably boot Resident Evil 2, Outer Worlds, and Smash Bros. Ultimate to replace those. I think this was the most grievous year of like miss nominees, man.
Do you think so if Disco Elysium was released as it is today, you know, with the voiceover acting and everything, do you think then it would have at least got nominated?
Dude, it might have won.
Ooh.
Like, legitimately, as much as I love Sekiro, dude,
game.
Disco Elysium is that game that it's like when the voice acting, the full voiceover was in there, it is such a memorable game to me, and it is such a masterpiece of a game in the way it was designed and you play and the discovery and all that stuff. The characters are super memorable. I mean, how often do we talk about Kuno,
freaking
Kuno.
And
Kim Kitsuragi and you know, Harry Dubois and all that stuff? I mean, this game just stands apart from others. I could actually see Disco Elysium being the winner, which really hurts my Dark Souls fanboyism. But, oh, man. Yeah. So,
love it.
I don't know what happened in 2019. The people that nominated those games were drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, legitimately, dude. Yeah. Any other grievous things stand out for you guys?
Not that year. No, I don't think so.
That year.
It was pretty grievous. You covered it all.
Yeah. All right. We're going to jump into 2020. We're getting into a whole new decade here, but we're going to take a short break and then we're going to come right back. Guys, 2020 is where we really got a lot of fantastic games that were nominated.
Whoa, what a banger year, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and what a perfect time in the world for it to happen, too.
Yeah, because it's like everybody was stuck at home. We need things to play. So I'll read the list here. We had The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Doom Eternal, Animal Crossing New Horizons, and the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which people that grew up like us were clamoring for a very long time. I'll tell you what, let me just go ahead and read some of the honorable mentions for 2020 just to kind of put things all on the table here. All right. So some other notable games that came out in 2020, quite possibly the best VR game ever made, Half-Life Alyx. Yeah. Jedi Fallen Order.
Great game.
Which was way better than it had any right to be.
Great game.
John, I put this one on here for you, but Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Yep, that's one of my favorite games of all time.
We had Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We had Valorant, which took the world by storm. I have never watched Twitch in order to try to get into a beta for a game before, but Valorant did it for me because it was like, this is Overwatch meets Counter-Strike. Like, this has got to be the greatest game ever. And a little game that also took the world by storm that everybody was playing called Among Us.
Yeah.
All right, so those are the notable games. The nominees again, Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Doom Eternal, Animal Crossing, and Final Fantasy VII Remake. What do you guys think about this one?
I mean, I've got several contenders right from that list. I have a soft spot for Animal Crossing because that like kept my wife and I sane during that period of time. But Hades is absolutely one of my favorite games of all time. Ghost of Tsushima was in my backlog forever. Man, what a fantastic game. Not quite game of the year, but I could absolutely see why it's on this list. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is like a top 10 of all time game for me. But I have to say, this year I think they got it right. The Last of Us 2 got a lot. It got review bombs because of some of the content. But from a storytelling perspective, it is probably the best narrative I think I've ever played, except for maybe Expedition 33 at this point. It is just so good and so gut-wrenching at times. I think they got it. It's a difficult year, but I think they got it right this year.
So is Last of Us 2 a top 10 all-timer game for you, John?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like 6 or something in his list.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough for me. I love them both. But I think the second one's just got an edge. I didn't play it for a long time. Shout out to my buddy Josh, who was like, dude, you have to play this. Not Josh on the show, my other friend Josh. Although you're my good buddy Josh.
He doesn't listen to me when I tell him he has to play stuff. So.
Yeah, he doesn't listen to us at all.
Yes, I do. I played Doom, The Dark Ages, which I never would have played.
Because you had to.
Details.
Details. We don't need to worry about that.
And I'm playing Blueprints. Man, talk about a game that you have to play to appreciate. Like, just looking at the trailers of that thing, I'm like, get out of here. That looks terrible. But I'm playing it and I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. Starting to get its hooks in you now.
Oh, for sure. It's addictive. Yeah. It's a great roguelike. But yeah, Last of Us 2 is definitely in my top 10. It wouldn't ever be number 1 because it is so linear. It doesn't quite scratch that little bit of exploration that I want, but just from a storytelling standpoint, man, it rivals any movie or miniseries out there. It is great. Absolutely great.
Do you prefer Last of Us over The Last of Us 2, or do you prefer 2 over the original?
I prefer 2. Barely,
okay,
but I prefer 2. Which is, it's a bummer and a bit controversial because the show is a little flip-flopped. The season 1 of the show was quite a bit better than season 2.
You mean what the game's good and the show's bad? Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
by
exactly.
flip-flopped?
Exactly. Well, come
they
on.
could have just they literally could have just taken the cutscenes from the game, put them on TV, and it would have been a better show. I
will say this, man. So I watched it with my wife. Sarah and I have been watching The Last of Us 2. And as I'm watching it, they do a pretty good job of following the storyline to their credit. Because like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But to take it a step further, I was like, I wish Sarah would just play this game, man. Like the game is amazing. It's so much more emotionally impactful when you have the time and the immersiveness to just like get baked into the story. Like it felt weird kind of watching it. Although it did end really strong for anybody who hasn't seen the season finale. But anyway, to answer your question, yes, I slightly preferred 2-1.
Ryan, what do you think about this list? Did they get all the nominees right? Did the winner? I'm gonna assume you don't think that Last of Us 2 should have won, just knowing how you feel about it. So,
I mean, I loved Last of Us 2 as a game. I preferred 1 over the 2. You know, I'm a sucker for origin story. I both were fantastic, I think, but I loved 1 a lot more. It's in my top 10 of all time. I would for sure boot Final Fantasy. Speaking of overrated, just that whole series, in my opinion, it's overrated.
Final Fantasy is my favorite franchise ever, and I totally agree. That 7 remake was totally overrated.
I would have booted that and put in Fallen Order there. I think it's like wholeheartedly deserved it. It was such a good quality Star Wars game that we hadn't had in so long. Like, when was the last time we had an awesome Star Wars game like that, other than like Battlefront 2, and that was way back in the day. So, but yeah, Ghost of Tsushima was probably my number 1 that year over Last of Us 2, but not by much.
I'm going to mix this up completely because I think Hades should have won Game of the Year. Oh. Like, legitimately, Hades came out. It was the best roguelike game that anybody has ever seen. It was a masterful game. I mean, you know, when it came out, the world was abuzz about, hey, man, if you played this, have you seen this game Hades? It's crazy. Really catapulted the roguelike genre forward as far as just this is a masterpiece of the genre in this case. And I want to give it its due. Ghost of Tsushima is absolutely fantastic. It wasn't flawless in my opinion, but I think it was great. I'm with you guys. I quite enjoyed Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's no shade against the game itself, but you know, I played the original Final Fantasy VII. You know, it's like, and that was better than the remake in my opinion. But I will say, I think that Half-Life Alyx and Jedi Fallen Order absolutely deserve to be in the list of nominees. Half-Life Alyx to this day, and we're talking 5 years later, is still the best VR game in existence, dude. It is mind-blowingly good. So if we're going to talk about a game that has, you know, changed the world in a way, no other games even come close. I get, again, niche platform. Not everybody has a Quest, but my goodness, Half-Life Alyx just stood out like crazy. So I'm going to bump Animal Crossing. The world done lost its mind, man.
Oh, what? Thank you.
Dude.
Thank you.
Okay, listen, I get it. It's a cozy game. The only reason that Animal Crossing is on this list is because of COVID. Yeah. People needed a really long, drawn out, boring game to play while they were stuck at home for weeks at a time.
Doesn't that make it the most important to these games? Like,
no.
It's terrible. I don't know. I mean,
Animal Crossing sucks.
My wife is. That's subjective. I'll give you credit. It's not everyone's cup of tea. But like, my wife is a worker bee, and because of what happened with COVID, like, we laid off like 90% of our staff for the first month because we had no idea what was going to happen. And Sarah happened to be part of that. And so her job for the first like month or so when she was sitting at home was literally digging up clams and fishing in Animal Crossing. Yeah. I don't think she would have been sane otherwise. I mean, she'd be in a loony bin somewhere right now if it weren't for that game.
I was so let down because of the fond memories I have playing Animal Crossing on GameCube. And I searched 500 freaking Targets and Walmarts to get a dang Switch. And I finally got one like 40 miles from my house. Get home, get Animal Crossing, boot it up. I'm all excited. Like 2 days in, I'm like, this is not fun at all.
This is work.
This is
all just
horrible.
Work.
And then he's like, build these 3 houses. And I'm like, that's it. I'm done. No more after this. And that was it. And that was when I quit, when they stinking Tom Nook is trying to make me build houses. And that was enough for me. I think it was, I'm not a big Animal Crossing guy.
Cozy games are not for me. So before the world gets upset with me and it's like, dude, like my wife absolutely loved it. Paul loved it. I remember they were like, hey, I got oranges on my island. Let me give you my island code and then I'll trade for your strawberries or whatever.
Well, it's got fishing. Paul loves fishing.
Yeah. So, so for me, I'm booting Animal Crossing, and I'll be honest, no shade against the game. I just don't know Last of Us 2. So I'm going to boot that one. And then I am putting Fallen Order on there and Half-Life Alyx on there.
Ooh, man, you can't boot Last of Us 2, bro.
We won't allow it.
John, here's the thing, and
So
I know that there was a lot of controversy.
Yeah, I know, right?
I know there was a lot of controversy around that game, but at the same time, a lot of gamers just went, "This didn't do it for me." And,
anybody who said that it didn't do it for them has some sort of really strong agenda against it, or honestly didn't play it. Anybody who played that game would have to concede it's a great game.
The world was beautiful. The story was amazing. The gameplay, I've seen some people talk about how the gameplay wasn't good. And then a day or two later, I see Ellie like roll out of a window, throw a Molotov cocktail, then snipe a dude with an arrow, and then shank another person with like a machete. I'm like, this is awesome. What are you talking about?
Bro, it is awesome, man. I mean, man, I don't want to give too much away for people who are watching the show and or haven't played the game yet, but there's some of the most like menacing scenes I've ever played in a game in it, man. It's both cinematically and from a gameplay perspective. It is a freaking world-class game.
well, little birdie told me that I might wind up playing Last of Us here in a little bit, which might turn into Last of Us 2 for me if it goes well.
Oh,
so
it
we'll
will.
see. And maybe I'll come back and be like, okay, guys, what I said was really
I get it
dumb.
now,
It should
man.
be on the list. Should be on the list. All right, let's move on. Guys, what the heck happened in 2021,
2021.
man?
Everyone
What
had
the
long
heck?
COVID.
That's
Dude,
when the world
yeah.
actually shut down.
Well,
yeah.
yes. And here's the thing. We talk about how great 2024 and 2025 have been and how just as gamers, we are just feasting on these incredible games. And it's like that came after a period of starvation called 2021. This list just makes me feel gross. So I'm going to read it, but I don't feel good about it. Here's the nominees. It Takes Two, Resident Evil Village, Psychonauts 2, Metroid Dread, Deathloop, and Ratchet & Clank: A Rift Apart. There's your nominees.
Dude. The fact that Deathloop's even a nominee, that game was so bad. I was so excited for that game too, and I got it, and I'm like, this is dumb. I wanna put myself in a Deathloop.
Let me read the honorable mentions here for games that I think should at least have been in contention for this. Returnal, great roguelike.
Yes.
Guardians of the Galaxy, one of the most underrated games out there, in my opinion. That game caught me completely off guard.
Big time, yeah.
Inscription, which took the world by storm. A little game called Valheim, which is one of the best like survival crafting games in existence. And a little known game, but an awesome game that we recommend to people all the time called Forgotten City. Now, I kind of get that Forgotten City probably not going to get nominated, but man, up against this hot pile of stinky garbage that was the nominees. So here's the question, guys. It Takes Two famously won Game of the Year. Is that the right call? Does it even matter?
For this year, I guess.
Is stinky garbage better than hot garbage? Like, how do you choose which garbage you want to nominate?
It's asterisk year.
Did any of you guys actually play Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart?
I have not.
I
no.
have not, but I
That's-
know Ratchet
it's
and Clank is pretty beloved.
Yeah, it's a solid. If you guys liked Astrobot, which I haven't played, and I know that's a crime, but if you guys are open to that type of game, like sort of like teens platformer versus like Mario, like preteen platformer, dude, it is a solid game. Super fun game. That would have been my selection for this year.
Ratchet and Clank?
Yeah, but in any other year, as a game of the year, it would have been.
This year's so bad, I'm going to go with you, John. I'm going to take Ratchet and Clank too.
So here's the thing with my pick on this would have absolutely been Valheim. The issue is that Valheim was released in early access, and I don't know that an early access game even qualifies, but I'll tell you what, man, the early access of Valheim was infinitely better than every game on this list, man. I don't care if they weren't done making it. Valheim was by far the best game that I played in 2021. Deathloop, insanely overrated. That game was kind of disappointing. Metroid Dread, I thought was good. It just wasn't like game of the year good. But then again, we just didn't really have much to choose from in that case. But oh my goodness, dude, what a gross, gross year. Thankfully, we came out of it because we're moving into 2022. To me, this came down to two games, but let me read the list for you guys, okay? We had Elden Ring, We had a little game called Stray. People love them cats, man. Xenoblade Chronicles. I'll be honest, I never played any of the Xenoblade games, so I don't really know much about that one. A Plague Tale Requiem, which looked incredible. Horizon Forbidden West. We finally got the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. And we got the long-awaited sequel to God of War 2018 in God of War Ragnarok. This list is easy for me. It came down to 2 games, and one of these games stands way above the others, in my opinion. But let's just talk about the runners-up in 2022, because there are none. There are no other games that deserve to be on this list that aren't on this list, in my opinion. 2022, we were still kind of coming out of the tragedy that was 2021, but at least we got 2 juggernaut games, in my opinion. Ryan, which, you haven't played Elden Ring.
I have not.
So it's tough to talk about. You did play God of War Ragnarok, so it's like, what are your thoughts on this?
This one's a hard one for me because I just feel, I love the God of War series. Ragnarok was an amazing game. I still like 2018 better, but that doesn't take away how awesome Ragnarok was. Thor and like all these extra characters that you got to meet were amazing. I know like the love for Elden Ring and what it did for these Souls-like games and how many people still playing the expansion. And then Night Rain comes out this week, which I will be playing. So I'm excited to check it out, but I think that was probably the right call. But Ragnarok was just such a good hit. I would not say miles apart like you did, but I will say Elden Ring probably should have won it.
John, did you play Ragnarok?
Yep.
You did? Did you like it?
Yeah, I liked it.
Did you like it more than 2018?
I'll be honest, man. Like they're basically indistinguishable from one another.
I get that.
Yeah, they were both. They kind of fall into that same category as Doom: The Dark Ages for me, where I'm like, oh, this is a lot of fun, smashing stuff up. For me, not terribly memorable, man. And I think that God of War put a lot more effort into making it memorable, but it just, I don't know. For me, there was just something that didn't resonate, which sucks because I love Kratos. I love the God of War lore. The original games had me hook, line, and sinker. For whatever reason, when they went to this sort of over the shoulder third person perspective, it just didn't click the same way. And maybe I was getting a little sort of like Nordic Viking fatigue at the time or something, but something about it just didn't. It was a really good game. I think of these, Elden Ring is the correct choice. Even though I have a very strong love-hate relationship with it, I have to respect it for what it is. It is some of, if not the best exploration out there. Some of, if not the best world building out there. The bosses and all of the enemies are terrible and ugly and beautiful at the same time. There's so many different builds. It's not overly done on the exposition storytelling standpoint. It's not ham-fisted. The voice acting is brilliant. It is one of the best games categorically of all time, even if the actual gameplay isn't for everybody.
It's weird, man. On the internet, you always hear about like these, oh, there's this group of people that doesn't like God of War or doesn't like Elden Ring or something like that. And I played the original God of Wars. I think they're fantastic. I played, all through all of them. And when 2018 came out, it completely caught me off guard because, it's a different game. And I've never met a person in real life that went, yeah, I don't know, man. They kind of changed it up from like the originals, and it's this more like timid story-based game. And I really just wanted Kratos going ham on everybody. And now I know John, and he's like, yeah, it just doesn't do it for me. And I'm like, I finally met somebody in real life that feels the same way. Listen, I love God of War Ragnarok. I am with you. I do not think it is as good as 2018. There's just a certain magic in God of War 2018. But Ragnarok is an absolutely phenomenal game. But man, Elden Ring to me is personally for me is a top 5 game of like all time. I mean, as a Souls lover, it clicked every possible box for me. It's top 5 game of all time for me. So Elden Ring absolutely deserved it. when it came out, it was better than I dreamed of. Like, legitimately, I remember playing it and going like, it can't be this good. You know, like there's got to be something wrong, and it just keeps going and going. It's like hundreds of hours worth of content, optional stuff. Oh my goodness, I freaking love Elden Ring so much.
And
So
4 million rolls to date.
way more than that, buddy. All right, moving on to 2023, guys. We're starting to get back. We're starting to get back into like the really good games.
We are so
now.
back, baby.
Yeah, we're back, baby. One of my most anticipated games came out this year, Baldur's Gate 3. I managed to avoid the early access for this because I wanted to play the game all the way through. One of Paul's most anticipated games, Alan Wake 2. We got Super Mario Brothers Wonder that kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, we got not a whole lot of notice on that, and that game wound up being really good. We got the sequel to Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. Oh my goodness, the world absolutely fell in love with that. The remake to Resident Evil 4. Like, I don't even remember playing Resident Evil 4, and then I played this remake, and I'm like, this game is freaking fantastic, dude. Oh my goodness. And a game that Ryan is still trying to get me to play to this day called Spider-Man 2. Josh, just play it for 10 minutes and swing around the city. Play it for 10 minutes.
He's borrowed my PlayStation twice, and both times he did not touch Spider-Man. I left it installed, and I'm like, Josh, just log in. 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes as a friend to swing around. He's like, nope, not going to do it.
Bro,
not gonna do it. He never did it.
That is the most fun experience I've ever played in a game, man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 is fun encapsulated in a game.
It's so good.
I will play it at some point.
Yeah.
Actually, it's on PC now, so at some point I got to play the Spider-Man games, man.
Yeah,
They're right up my alley. I would absolutely love them. It's one of those blind spots for me where it's like
20
they're
minutes,
all on
man.
PC at this
20
point.
minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just hop in, swing around the town, dude. You can even fly when you hit the jet streams. It's so cool, man. It's a good game. As far as this goes, I know Baldur's Gate for you guys was huge. I know Paul loved Alan Wake. Not you, John. I was talking because he mentioned Paul was a big fan.
Boo, overrated.
But-
boo.
Oh.
Hey, you're not gonna get any
Okay.
argument from me, dude.
Boo. Oh, that
Yeah,
might
from
be
Mr.
the
I
most
hate turn-based
overrated
combat.
game of all time, man. As somebody who is a huge fan of turn-based, Baldur's Gate 2 might have, like, and I could break it down on paper too, man. I mean, like, the character design's uninspired. The script writing is
Bro, don't
like
talk about my girl Lizelle like that.
whatever, man. I mean, like even that, bro. There's way better heat out there than Lizelle.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
But the most criminal offense that Baldur's Gate 3 did was having to watch everyone squint and poop face when they're talking about what's going on in their head. Like, I was like, why do I have to watch this guy go like squint and look like he's like trying to hold in a turd every time there's like dialogue going on? Like, show me what's going on, man. Like you have the exact format and setting to be able to show me cinematically all these crazy things that are happening in this person's head. It would be so easy to do. But instead I'm looking at my guy was a dragon, but I'm looking at my little weird dragon guy, like just like making stink face. Hated it, man. Hated it.
I love it. I love it.
All right, so before you tell me which game you think should have won, let me bring up the honorable mentions, because this might be one of the best honorable mentions grouping that we have too. Okay, so a game that I will continue to shout to the world, Remnant 2 came out in 2023. Armored Core 6, this is from Software. It's mecha, Dark Souls basically. I waited a really long time to play Armored Core 6, and it's really good. Hi-Fi Rush, which was freaking-tastic, dude. That game came out of nowhere. That was a shadow drop. A little game called Dave the Diver, which is another just incredible game. Now, this game, I don't think would win, but it deserved to be nominated for something. I don't think it's Game of the Year, but Dredge, just to give you an idea of kind of how good we had it in 2023. So if you don't think Baldur's Gate 3 should have won, I'm going to guess you think it was Tears of the Kingdom, John?
It would have been Tears of the Kingdom or no, well, I don't know. I would have chose Spider-Man 2. That is, again, it's the most fun game I've ever played, probably. Tears of the Kingdom, man, you toss a coin basically between those two. Also, Street Fighter 6 came out that year.
It did, yeah.
Yeah, and fighting games, it's tough to pick a fighting game.
That's why I didn't bring it up, because it's, I know.
But if you want to
It's
talk,
not because you lost to me.
if you want to talk,
Oh,
yeah. If you want to talk heat, bro, Cammy versus
Oh, yeah.
Lizelle. Whew.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Put the bat ears on Cammy and we've got a winner. So.
So John, just Spider-Man 2, basically.
I'd have to say Spider-Man 2, man. Like, I've never wanted DLC so bad in a game. I want DLC.
Yeah.
I want DLC for Spider-Man 2 more than I want an expansion for Expedition 33. I love that game.
Whoa.
Yep.
Dang. Did you
Whoa.
play Miles Morales too? As well?
I did. I have to give that another shot. I love the first Spider-Man, and I love Spider-Man 2. For some reason, I love Miles too. You know, like the Spider-Verse movies are like probably my favorite movies besides like the Lord of the Rings movies. But I have to go back and give it another shot.
Nice.
So what's your
that's
pick,
solid.
Ryan?
Mine's gonna be, as much as I love Spider-Man 2, I think Tears of the Kingdom should take it. I think it was just like I said, it was Breath of the Wild but fun. The Ultra Hand and the ability, you still see it to this day. Creations that it's just the ways people can build stuff and come up with ways to get around the world, to beat bosses. Everything you can do in that game was absolutely amazing. And then they followed it up with a turd, another Zelda. But anyways, I think Tears of the Kingdom.
Make sure you get the
was
Zelda
mine.
game right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
or just the little helping character. Don't call it Navi when it's Midna by accident.
So
Which is
stupid.
also
know
a game
better.
that I played like 15 years ago, man.
Know what
Like,
you're talking
you know,
about.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Oh man,
It's
doesn't
real
matter.
to me.
Okay, listen, I'm gonna shock the world here, guys. I absolutely love Baldur's Gate 3. I think it is one of the best CRPGs ever made. CRPGs are one of my favorite genre of game. Divinity Original Sin 2 is still one of my favorite games ever. Baldur's Gate 3, this is no shade to what Baldur's Gate 3 is, unlike you two doofuses,
Good
because
word,
that
good
game is fantastic. But listen, I would be amiss. I've been shouting Remnant 2 to the world since it came out. Remnant 2, for what it is the most perfect representation of a co-op shooter game that you can play with friends, with the most incredibly memorable world, stages, boss fights, weapons, builds, gameplay. It is perfection. I get that maybe a hard as nails shooter, the perfect encapsulation of this is everybody that says, I wish we had a Dark Souls game that wasn't melee and had guns. That is Remnant 2. And it is absolute perfection. For me, Remnant 2 would absolutely win Game of the Year, in my opinion. I know there's tons of people out there that's, Josh, you're the biggest idiot I have ever heard in my life. Baldur's Gate 3 is an absolute masterpiece and appeals to way more people out there. Does it? Because here's my take. If I got Ryan, and John, I know you've played some Remnant 2, but if the three of us played through Remnant 2 together, I think you guys would both say, I like it more than Baldur's Gate 3. I think it's more fun than Baldur's Gate 3.
Totally.
Yeah. So,
Totally.
The people that are saying, oh, but the mass appeal of Baldur's Gate 3, it's just Remnant 2 is perfection for what it is, man. It's kind of like Doom Eternal, right? Like what that game tried to do, it did perfectly. Maybe it doesn't appeal to as wide of an audience as another game, but you can't fault the game for what it did. It perfected what it was trying to do. That is Remnant 2 for me. So that's all I care about.
Dude,
when
I'll
it
tell you
comes
what,
to that year.
Because you've been trying to get me to play that forever. If you play Spider-Man, I'll play Remnant 2.
Bro,
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2.
Bro,
Yeah,
I would love to play Remnant 2 with you guys.
I've been kind of having the itch, dude. I've played Remnant. So people, just to clarify this, I hardly ever beat games, and if I beat a game, I never play the game again. I have beaten Remnant 2 3 times, guys.
That's crazy.
Yes, that's how much I love that game. So,
My
right.
cousin, again, that's gameplay wonderful. The story, I still don't know what the game is about.
it's a weird.
My cousin and I probably
Story.
played like 20 hours of it, and I have no idea what the game is about. But
It's all right.
from a like multiplayer standpoint, oh my god, it's so fun.
Get big gun, kill big monsters.
so
That's all
good.
you got to worry about with Remnant 2. It's freaking beautiful too, man. The graphics, the sound design, everything. It's a perfect game for me.
I would agree with that.
All right, let's move on. 2024, guys.
Oh,
Everybody
yeah.
remembers because it's recent memory now. And this is another year where I kind of look at a lot of these nominees and I go, dang, that's a pretty good list, man.
Yeah.
So here's our nominees. We had Astrobot. I mean, let's just be honest. It won Game of the Year. I still think it deserves to win Game of the Year. Astrobot is some of the most fun that you can have in a video game. I remember it catching us off guard completely with how freaking fun that game actually was. I remember just instantly, it's like, dude, this game is everything I ever wanted in a video game. So Metaphor Refantasio, I know a lot of people love it. Some people don't love it as much as Persona 5 Royale. Call it what you will. John, you have a little bit of experience with that one. Black Myth Wukong, incredible game. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'll be honest, I never played it because Final Fantasy VII Remake was, it was fun, but it wasn't enough to make me really just crave Rebirth. Shadow of the Erdtree, one of the best DLCs in existence. Oh my goodness. And a little game that for some reason I just cannot get myself to like, which makes me a weirdo, but Balatro took the world by storm. We still see people talking about Balatro. It's almost like once a week somebody's playing Balatro and trying to break some high score or break the game or whatever it is. So let's talk about some of the runners up. There's really only two, in my opinion, for this one. Helldivers 2, quite possibly the biggest snub to a Game of the Year nominee ever. Helldivers 2 absolutely took the world by storm. I don't know how it didn't get nominated for Game of the Year. That's a crime. And then a game that really got a lot of shade. This is one of those perfect examples of if you believe everything you read on the internet, you're going to think this game is garbage. But if you actually pick the game up and play it, it's way better than the internet would have you think. And that's a game called Star Wars Outlaws.
Yep.
There is a world where I could see Outlaws being nominated. For me, I would put it in there over Balatro or Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But again, I don't have a lot of experience with either one of those games. So it's kind of tough to say, well, I haven't played those. So would I replace one? Well, yeah, I would because I didn't play them. So what do you guys think about this list? John, if we do nothing else in the world, we're going to make you play Astrobot soon because I would bet so much money that you would absolutely love Astrobot like no other game.
That's
dude.
right up my alley. It's just good, wholesome, silly fun. I really want to give me a pass, man.
Yeah.
At this point, honestly, that I love the pod and I want to do the best service to our listeners as humanly possible. And most people have probably either played it or don't care about it at this point. And so I feel like I need to stay current. But I am itching to play that game. I'm absolutely itching to play that game.
Just drop Blueprints and start playing Astrobot.
Blueprints, man. Blueprints, it tickles the thing for me.
It does.
Because it is a perfect workout game. It's a perfect.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You ain't
Walking
playing
while you're
Astrobot on the
walking.
treadmill.
Yeah.
There's too much movement in Astrobot, dude. That's going to be like a 1 out of 10 on the play it on your treadmill.
Yeah,
video, man.
probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
So, Ryan, what do you think about this list, man? I know you love Astrobot. Is that the right
I
winner
love
for
it.
you?
What's wild for me too is I know you said that it caught us off guard. I had played Astro's Playroom since I had got my PS5 and I played with my son. I have 1 million hours on that. So I was expecting a lot out of this game and it still blew me away. The sound design, the level format, like the different innovations, the characters you can do, everything about it was flawless for a platformer and what it wanted to be. So I absolutely think that it should have won, and I'm glad that it did. I also Final Fantasy VII and Balatro, I would boot those and then swap out with Helldivers and Star Wars. I think Outlaws is criminally underrated. I don't know why it got the hate it did, and people didn't like it, but it's just like any other awesome kind of action RPG where you go around but you're in Star Wars world,
One of the best Star Wars universes in a game.
Yeah,
too,
it's fantastic. The
opinion.
level design, you're in the city, you feel like you're in the city when you're out in the Outlands and you're on your speeder bike. There's jumps, there's boosts and upgrades. I think it's very, very underrated, especially as a Star Wars game, but as a game in general. So, but otherwise, yeah, Astrobots, it's it's awesome.
You guys are kind of
John-
making me want to play that.
Dude, it's pretty good. Yeah, as much of a Star Wars fan as you are too, I
Oh,
feel like
dude,
would
if you haven't
love
played it, you
Outlaws,
got to
dude.
check it out.
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Even the dogfighting in space, like you're flying a ship in space. You're like, it's really good.
Yeah. I know you played Metaphor ReFantazio, John. Have you played any of the other ones on this list?
I did. I played a little Balatro. I played some Final Fantasy Rebirth. I didn't play Shadow of the Erd Tree, but I did play Elden Ring, and I have no doubt that that's a really good game. I'm a little divided on whether DLC qualifies for
That was the big thing with 2024 was does Shadow of the Erd Tree even qualify? But if you have a DLC that's 25 hours long or longer, it's like that's basically the same amount of content that you would get.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Shadow of the Erd Tree is more content from a gameplay perspective than Astrobot was. I mean, I think we beat Astrobot in like 15 hours, whereas Shadow of the Erd Tree is a 25 to 30 hour game.
Yeah.
I know it's tough. So.
My game isn't even on here, man.
Ooh, what is it?
Space Marine 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I am clearly biased. I have been a diehard Warhammer fan for 30 plus years at this point, and I thought they nailed Grimdark more than anything. Like I haven't felt it is a beautiful game. It's not perfect. Again, don't get me wrong. This is just my own context, given what else was nominated here. But as far as like capturing what it feels to be just a powerful demigod in a world universe full of horrors, I thought they did a fantastic job and brought a whole new series of fans into the tabletop. So I'm a big fan of Space Marine 2 for a lot of reasons.
Space Marine 2 is a really good game.
It was solid.
Yeah, beautiful too. And for somebody that's not into Warhammer, like like the world that they built and the visuals and stuff were freaking top notch.
I know nothing of Warhammer, and I found myself like, oh, I wonder why that happened. I'm trying to look up lore and stuff, and so if a game can do that, you know, with how much depth it has, and you know, Henry Cavill, like,
the world will breathe a sigh of relief once somebody nails the first Warhammer show. It is the best lore in all of fiction. I'm telling you guys. Even if you never like tabletop gaming isn't for everybody. I get it. There's, you know, you have to find people to play with. You have to find space to play with. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of patience. A lot of the rule sets for especially the bigger games like Warhammer 40,000 are huge, but the lore is accessible to anybody. By the way, yeah, huge plug. Warhammer TV, I think you can get a year's subscription for a pretty nominal fee. It's an app, and there are shows on it that are just unbelievable. Do yourself a favor, download this app, watch a couple of the videos. You'll get sucked into the lore. Even if you never play a game, the lore is fantastic. Or go to Amazon TV, Hidden Levels, I think was the name of the show.
Oh, yeah, they did a Warhammer episode.
Yeah, exactly.
The Space Marine episode.
Exactly. Gosh, It's so good, guys.
All right, listen, we're out of time, guys. I think that most people in the world can say, hey, Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the best video games ever made. Like, even me, even though it's not my favorite game, I can recognize it. But let's just take Red Dead 2 off the list, okay? Out of all of these years and all of these games, what is the absolute best game that has come about from the last, what did we go back to? 2017? So
best
last
game or
8 years.
favorite game?
Personal favorite. We'll say personal. What is your personal favorite game out of these games that we talked about over the last 8 years?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Favorite?
Go ahead. You go.
I'm going to say Elden Ring for me.
Yeah.
As much as I love Remnant 2, I get it. It's, Remnant 2 is fantastic, but Elden Ring is an all-timer for me, dude. John, you're a perfect example of like, dude, this game, this is not my kind of game, but I absolutely love everything else about it to where it can overcome the, some of the challenges that you didn't like about it. But Elden Ring is a top 5 game of all time for me.
Yeah, Patrick and I were talking about it on Discord. Like the good parts of it were so absolutely mind-blowingly good that it made me work through the parts of it that I hated just to accomplish it.
Yeah.
If I were saying like what is the best game on there, I mean, I would say Elden Ring is one of the best games. Definitely top 2, 3 games of all time, just best on its merits. My favorite game, probably Spider-Man 2.
Oh, I gotta play some Spider-Man.
I told you,
both
man.
of you guys touting
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 to me.
It's
So
solid,
good.
dude. The Venom level.
So fun. It is so fun.
That only problem was there wasn't enough of them. I wanted to play more.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's supposed to be a game. Like Josh, if you have any element of playing games for escapism where you're like, I want to feel as much as I can with, a controller, keyboard, whatever, what it is like to be this being, that I'm playing, Spider-Man 2 does probably the best job I've ever seen. Like, all I can think of when I'm playing is like, man, like, that looks so fun. Like, why not me? Like, it makes you like upset at the confines of reality, dude. It is so fun.
The listeners heard it. We have it on record. If I play Spider-Man 2, you guys are playing Remnant 2 with me.
Book it.
That's
Done.
the deal.
Book it.
All
Yeah,
right.
book it.
All right. So Ryan, what about you? What's your pick?
Oh, I'm probably gonna say Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. So
yeah.
you like Ragnarok more than 2018?
Oh, we're including that?
Well, yes.
Okay, so you weren't just saying, then 2018. Yeah. 2018 is mine. It's because to me, like in the last 10 years, 20 years or whatever, my two favorite games that I've played are gonna be 2018 and Red Dead. They just came out in the same year.
I'm so torn between Elden Ring and God of War 2018. Like, everybody knows how much I love God of War, but it's like I think I can objectively say Elden Ring's the better game. But man, that's tough because it's like, but I want to veer a little bit because everybody's going to be like, Josh loves God of War more than anything. And it's like, I do, but Elden Ring's probably the best game. And if I was actually going to hop back into a game to play it again, I'd probably hop back into Elden Ring.
I listened to the audiobook of 2018. It's voiced by
Really?
Mimir. Yeah, the guy that does the voice for Mimir.
Oh, that's such a good
which is
voice, too.
awesome.
Yeah.
But that's going to be mine, 2018. But I do recognize the amazing nature of Elden Ring for sure.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, listen, that's going to do it, guys. Come join our Discord server. If you think a game should have won Game of the Year that it didn't, or maybe there's a game that we forgot to even mention that deserved to be in the contenders, come to our Discord server. Let us know. It's so fun to chat about these episodes and these different topics. There's a link in the episode description. We have one of the most active, best gaming communities on the planet. That's not an exaggeration. It is actually true. So come see what you're missing in that regard. If you want to support the show, there is a link in the episode description to do that. It is the reason that we can continue to do this podcast after 5 years going strong.
Yeah, buddy.
So please think about supporting the show because it really does keep us going as well. So that's going to do it for this episode, everybody. Until next time, happy gaming.
See ya.
Doodles.